We know your summer's looking a little different than normal.
So you might need some help staying motivated to learn a language.
Whether you need an extra push to keep you on track, or you just want to switch things up a little bit.
We've got a few tips to help you out.
But first, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss a video. Keeping yourself accountable is one of the best ways to stay motivated when you're learning a language. If you're super self-motivating, you can set up a reward system where, at the end of every week, you treat yourself to something nice if you've completed the full week of lessons. I personally find that the best way to keep myself accountable is to tell other people that I'm learning a language. So if you have friends or family that are fluent in the language you're learning, you can set up a phone call or a video chat every week or 2 weeks to check in and try to have conversations in the language that you're learning. You could also get a language buddy, and if you have a friend who wants to learn the language alongside you, you can keep each other accountable by checking in on your progress, or if you're super competitive like I am, have a contest to see who can complete the most lessons in a given time frame. I recommend somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks.
The biggest motivation problem that I have when learning a language is that after a little while of studying grammar and vocabulary, I start to get a little bit bored with the daily routine, and maybe I don't want to spend my evenings studying, which makes it feel like I'm still in school. So to get around that, I try to find more passive ways to engage with the language. For example, when I'm cooking dinner, I might put on music in the language that I'm learning. So that way, even if I can't understand every word that they're saying in the song, I'm still getting some exposure to the pronunciation and vocabulary. For a slightly more involved time, I like to put on a podcast while I'm walking around. And usually I slow the podcast down to about half or 3/4 speed, especially if I'm still in the very beginning stages of learning the language. It does make the hosts of the podcast sound like they're drunk or slurring their words, but it's helpful, trust me. And then lastly, I might spend an evening watching a TV show or movie in the language that I'm learning, but keeping the English subtitles on. So if I'm feeling more up to it, I might cover up the subtitles and try to test my knowledge of what's going on in the scene. Or if I just want to sit down and lie back, I can just enjoy what I'm watching and not have to worry too much about what's being said. So there are lots more ways that you can do this. If you like video games, you can change your game system so that it's in the language that you're learning. And you can just be creative and find ways that you can have the language kind of thrown at you without you having to necessarily go out and seek it all the time. Best of luck!
There are a lot of little things that you can do every day to switch things up a bit and to keep learning even when you're not learning actively. And things that can even help you rediscover your love for the language and get back to why you're doing this in the first place. One really fast and easy thing to do is to change your phone settings into the language you're learning. It's a very common tip for language learners, but it can be pretty helpful because you will get exposed to the language so often every time you pick up your phone. You will learn to connect certain commands and images to words in the language you're learning. So that is one thing that everyone can just do right now. Another more fun tip is to plan a trip for the future. Even if we can't travel anywhere right now, you can plan a trip to a country where they speak the language you're learning. You can browse websites entirely in the language and even write your own dream itinerary only using the language you're learning. A lot of us are spending a lot of time online right now on social media and different apps, and that's also something that you can use to your advantage if you're learning a language. So you can find social media groups about any interest that you might have, whether it's cooking or houseplants or politics or whatever. You can find that in the language you're learning and, join discussions and connect with people. There are also tons of forums online for people who are learning a language just like you, and that can help you connect to people and maybe find someone who you can also talk to in a video call or something like that. You can also use dating apps. A lot of dating apps have a feature now where you can connect to people all around the globe, not just in your neighborhood. And that can also help you connect with people who speak the language that you're learning in a very fun and natural way. And my last tip is to start a language journal. This is good for 2 reasons. First of all, it helps you reflect on what you're learning. So you can write down something that you learned every day. It also lets you get creative. Write sentences and illustrate them with little doodles. You can get creative in sort of decorating a verb conjugation table. Yeah, the sky is the limit really. So actually picking up a notebook and start writing your language journal can also be fun and really helpful for your learning progress.
Do you have a favorite way to stay motivated? Let us know in the comments.
Thanks for watching!